Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of The Rachel Cruze Show. And I'm here to remind you that we have a new format. So we'll be releasing each segment every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hope you like it. Take a listen. Well, hey, you guys. Okay, so listen, most of the time on this channel, we are talking about money. And usually I'm teaching you something, whether it's investing or budgeting. And listen, today that is still true, but also I'm going to just share my thoughts on a few other topics. So there are 7 different topics here in this fishbowl, if you can see, and I'm going to draw them out one by one and share with you a valuable lesson that I swear by in each of these topics. Because here's the truth. We talk about money a lot, but also money affects every part of our lives. So whether it's money, marriage, faith, friendship, we're going to talk about it all. And stick around to find out which of these topics is in the fishbowl twice for a double dose of Rachel advice on that topic. So let's just pick out the first one, shall we? First one is, money. Yeah, that's very appropriate here. Okay, my number one tip when it comes to money, let me think. I would say is that you have to be intentional. You have to do things on purpose. And we talk about that a lot on this show, but wherever you are in your financial journey, whatever your goals are right now, whatever choices you're making, maybe you have good thoughts and intentions towards money. Honestly, the best thing that you can do is actually do something on purpose. So whether that's budgeting before the month begins, whether that's adjusting your budget as you go, whether that's setting money aside for retirement and you're investing that money, whatever it is, that you are doing things on purpose. Because I think the biggest mistake people make with their money, which is the opposite, right, of my number one tip, I really think the biggest mistake is they just aren't doing things purposefully. They just kind of go through the month and they go through the year and they look up and through the decade of their life, they haven't done anything on purpose with their money. And so that's what you have to do. You have to create a plan. So again, whether that's a plan around investing in retirement, whether that's a plan around your income, which is your budget, anything around that, do things intentionally, you guys, proactively. It's really, really important. So like every dollar, that's our budgeting app and it's amazing. So if you've not checked that out, make sure to do that because that can help you in this world of intentionality, if you will, with money. All right, next topic. Let's see. Is marriage. Oh, marriage. Winston and I are going to celebrate 15 years of marriage here in the next couple of months. So I'm not an expert, but kind of, I guess. If you've been married 15 years, you've experienced some things. And yeah, I mean, I think if I were to go back and tell myself something and say, okay, here, Rachel, this is like the number one thing you need to know. I think I would say you as an individual is really important when it comes to just creating self-awareness and being emotionally healthy and aware of who you are and why you do the things you do. Like the healthier you are as an individual, the better your marriage is going to be. And I think I played this game, and we got married young too, but I think to a degree you hear like, oh, you complete me, right? Like you hear all these like from the rom-coms or you Backstreet Boys, which is like the most codependent lyrics I've ever heard my entire life. It's basically like, I don't care, who you are, what you've done, as long as you love me, right? It's like this whole idea of like, oh my gosh, just love me and be with me and I'm going to be okay and you're going to be okay. And that's just not the truth. It's not. You're not going to be fixed because of your spouse. Your spouse is not going to be fixed because of you. And in fact, I really do think marriage magnifies who you are, just how money magnifies who you are. Marriage, I think, does that too. So again, instead of trying to fulfill each other, all of this, understand yourself and who you are and be the healthiest you can. I mean, honestly, even individual therapy, I think, is more important than even couples therapy. Like figuring out you and improving yourself, it's huge. It is huge. And I think it's taken me 15 years to feel the gravity of that. But I think that's the truth. So do your work. When they say do your work, do the work. Do the work, lean into that. And we talk about money and marriage so often, I feel like on this show and even here at Ramsey Solutions. In fact, Dr. John Deloney and myself, we have an event around this topic that we do once a year or now twice a year. And we have a whole weekend dedicated to this and it's sold out coming up here in a few weeks. We have one launching that's going to be during Valentine's weekend as well. But we're also going to do just an evening event, which is a live stream. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link below so you can just sit on your couch and watch us for an evening, talk about this. Because again, I think it's really important in marriage. Again, not an expert around it, but there's a lot of dynamics that come into play and it shapes a lot of your life. And I think it's really important to focus in on that. So that would be my marriage tip. Get therapy for yourself. That's it. All right, the third topic, parenting. Oh, man. Okay, parenting. Listen, I'm not a parenting expert by any means, and my kids are really young still. They're 9, 7, and 4, so not even a decade, right, of being a parent. So I'm still learning, but I feel like those first couple of years, I mean, you're keeping a human alive. Like, that's really it. I mean, you really are. It's just like making sure that everyone's taken care of physically. And then our oldest, our 9-year-old, it's really quickly turning to, oh my gosh, you can do everything yourself. Sweet girl makes her own lunch for school. I mean, like, she really does everything. And now it's all the emotions around life is starting to come out and like having actual conversations about life. And so that emotional parenting is becoming bigger and bigger is what I feel like in our household. And I think one of the most, powerful things, especially at that stage of parenting, I'm learning is just to be present. And I think, speaking truth over them and all of that, I think is really important, but also just not talking all the time and feeling like I have to have the answer, and just hearing her and listening to her as she's growing and developing and seeing life differently, and having different interactions with peers and teachers, and like you just hear them. And I think there's something about validating where she is, right? Like if she has like a spike of, I don't know. I feel like she's going to see these YouTube videos, so I'm always careful to talk about my kids. So like whatever the thing is that comes up, I'm like, I want to validate that. Like, yeah, that was scary. Or yeah, that would have embarrassed me too, right? Like there's this level of, I don't want to wash away your emotions. I want to validate them. But yet I want to show you like what the truth is too. Because I think truth and grounding them is really important too. But being present with them, I think, is really key. And again, I think even as little kids, when you have babies, I think it's so easy, or I was like this, where I'm like, oh, let me just scroll for a little bit while they're sitting there playing. And there's a time and a place, trust me. You can't be like with them locked eyes 24/7. But when I am with them, being as present as possible is, I think, really important and really key to them, their little developing minds. All right, next topic. Topic number 4, friendship. Ooh. Gosh. I mean, I think with friendship, consistency is really key. And I think I've learned too, you're going to have friends in different seasons, okay? And different friendships are going to look different. And there's some of those friends that you won't talk to for 6 months, and then you meet up for lunch and you talk for 3 hours, right? And you just pick up right where you left off. And those are special friends, wonderful. But I think having the friendships that are in your day-to-day life are really key. And obviously, the busier you are, the harder that's going to be, meaning that you're not going to have 10 people you can do this with. But having a couple that you just have a consistent rhythm with, that you kind of just know what's going on. There's like something about having the pulse on your life. And again, those people, it's their friendships and their work and their marriages or their kids, like what's going on with them on a pretty, I would say, if you can, daily basis. Again, that can be texting. I love the Marco Polo app. I'll do that with friends. Like on my way to work, we'll like catch up. But there's something about just having that rhythm with somebody in life that I think is really key. And again, in that same vein, you want to be able to show up for people in that way too, if you can. But it doesn't have to be a lot of people. I think it can just be, 1 or 2 friends even that just kind of know your rhythm and where you are in life emotionally, and all of it, I think is really important. All right, before I pull the rest of these topics out, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors. So you guys, scammers are everywhere these days. It's just crazy, which is why I use and recommend Delete Me, because it gives me so much peace of mind. Delete Me finds and removes your personal info, like your home address, phone number, and more, from hundreds of data broker websites, helping protect you from spammers, scammers, and online thieves, and potentially saving you a lot of time and money. So make sure to check out what they do, you guys. They are phenomenal. Seriously, I love working with them because I get my reports every month and I see where all my info was on all these different websites, and they remove it and show me how many hours that saved me, and it's incredible. So go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off. That's joindeleteme.com/Rachel. All right, next. Let's see. Oh, faith. Next topic. Okay. So when it comes to faith, let me think. I would challenge you, and I have for myself, just to continue to grow. Now, obviously, I think having your non-negotiables is really important, right? And something like faith, like there's something that you believe that you're like, this is pretty black and white for me. And I think having those is totally fine. But also start actually diving in more and learning, because scripture talks about how it's living and it's active, and the Holy Spirit, from a Christian perspective, it can stretch you in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm in my mid-30s and I have so much to learn, but can I just tell you that God is way bigger than he was when I was 22. Like, I look back on, my faith journey, and you continue to grow, but you experience life, as you get older. And I think what happens is when you have a strong faith, and again, having that foundation has been really important for me. But overall, I'm like, oh, there's like that door right there that I had never opened and explored, and been like, oh my gosh, God's there and God's there. And there's just something about continuing to learn within your faith. And again, for me, it just has continued to get bigger and bigger. And so I would push you in that, and talk to people that may not think exactly how you think too, right? I mean, again, I will state, because it's true for me, I have my convictions, I have my black and white issues. But I have learned there's just a lot of gray too, and people that do things differently or look different than you, or, even practice faith, maybe your similar faith genre, but in a different way. Like, we can continue to learn and to grow. So that's what I would say. That's my number one tip, because it's beautiful too. Like, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, y'all are way bigger than Rachel probably gave you credit for when I was younger. All right. Okay, here we go. Health. Topic, health. Well, I have been on a wellness journey. I am in my cold plunge era, if you will. Saunas, cold plunging, all of it. I am here for it. And again, there are some trends that come and go when it comes to, health and all of that. And I've not been consistent in this area of my life by any means, but I have started working out. It's been a year, y'all, consistently, which I'm very proud of myself. But now my Instagram is fed with health people now. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But can I tell you, the things that I keep seeing over and over again, and again, this could change, who knows, but I'm starting to really believe. I continually see 5 things, and it's 5 things that I try to implement in my life when it comes to my health that I think are important. Number 1 is lift weights and do functional exercises. So there was a whole cardio trend of you have to run 1,000 miles a day. And I don't know, there was a big cardio thing. I feel like when I was in high school and college, it was cardio. And now everyone's no, you need to be lifting. And maybe that's because I'm getting older and it's being targeted to old people like me. But lifting weights, I continue to see that's one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Number 2 is to get outside and soak in sunlight every single day. How important that vitamin D is, that natural vitamin D is so crucial, even to your melatonin levels, because also getting good sleep is number 3, to get a good night's sleep. And this is probably one of the best ones on the list for me. I can do this I'm an early to bed gal. 8:45, 9, I'm good. I'm an early riser, but man, getting a good night's sleep, so key, and apparently very good for your health. All right, number 4 is to eat protein. I keep seeing this over and over and over and over. So it's protein. Don't count carbs. You don't have to all this, but if you're just eating protein, go and enjoy. So it's important. And lastly, which I'm not great at this, but it's to drink water. And I'm learning this too. And it's not just regular water, electrolytes. Everyone's big on electrolytes these days, but what it does to repair and fuel your body is so key. So I don't know. Those 5 things I keep saying over and over again, you guys, and maybe I'm falling into a trend in life, but I trust these strangers on Instagram that act like they know what they're talking about in this space, because I've been doing it and I feel so great. I really do. I feel good. So that's my health journey. I hope that helps. I'm not a registered dietitian, so don't judge me if I'm wrong there. All right, the last tip. Okay, we're gonna circle back. You ready? Circle back to money. Last but not least, money again. Because I think one of the things that is so crucial in our culture today when it comes to money is, yes, being intentional and doing things on purpose, like we talked about earlier. But also it's to remember who you are in this process, because your identity is so easily tied, sadly, in our culture to how much money you make, or what's in your bank account, or what kind of car you drive, or how you travel, or your house. Whatever it is, material things continue to feel like this is who we are, and it's how people identify us. And then we start to identify ourselves that way. And removing that, breaking that is really crucial, that who you are And your identity and the foundation of you cannot be tied to things that can be taken away on this earth. Because if it is tied to a job, if it is tied to that type of house or that type of car, that type of lifestyle, whatever it is, and something gets taken from you, because that happens all the time, and you're going to question, oh my gosh, who am I? So putting your identity in things that cannot be taken away is so, so key. And again, I think it's powerful. Money is a great thing, right? It can build and create a life that you love. That's what we talk about around here. But it cannot be or provide things that where you see yourself that is who I am, because that's a dangerous place to be. So break that, okay? Your net worth is not your self-worth. Always remember that. All right. If I did not cover a topic or a question you're wondering about, maybe drop them in the comments. I don't know. We'll see part 2 down the road. But yeah, talking about money all the time on this show, I think it's great because I think there's so much around this topic that is so key. And it's such a hard subject these days because a lot of people are stressed and they feel the pinch of money. But also it's crazy that we have all these compartments of who we are, right, in this world, and focusing on all of those. And then in the end, where money can support those areas, I think is a great and beautiful way to live. But seeing yourself in all of these, so key. So listen, don't forget to share this episode with a friend who may need some motivation in one of these areas. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to leave a review. And if you haven't checked out my episode on life-changing lessons that I learned from minimalists, that's coming up next. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.